broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Houston, Texas. It's time for Houston Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Hello, Houston. Tricia Stetzel here, bringing you another episode of Houston Business Radio. It is my pleasure, and I'm so excited about having another sister on. You guys know what I'm talking about. We're still talking about that beautiful pink and green book that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But I'd like to introduce you to my amazing guest today, Gabrielle Baumeyer, who is an executive leadership coach with Baumeyer Coaching. She has over 25 years of coaching and consulting individuals and teams in achieving extraordinary results. Prior to becoming an executive leadership coach, Gabrielle co-founded Reason to Race, where she worked with over 500 companies and nonprofit organizations to maximize their community impact. Her work resulted in 6,000 individuals completing 700 events and raising $8 million for a local and international causes. So hold on, Gabrielle. I have a little bit more because there's something really, I think, really important here that I want folks to know about you. For her community leader achievements, Gabrielle received the HBJ Women Who Mean Business Award. As an Ironman Arizona finisher, Gabrielle was honored as a top fundraising athlete. Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tricia. It's great to be here.
Isn't it fun to hear those things? Like when someone else is saying it, you're like, wow, I do a lot of good stuff. I'm so excited to have you on the show. You do some amazing work, and I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about Gabrielle, and then let's jump into the coaching aspect after that.
Sure thing. Well, let's see. I like to answer that question by saying, maybe what other people would say about me,
Okay. Yeah.
And the first thing that comes to mind is I'm someone who is very committed to the community. I'm really, really committed to people stepping up, being leaders, expressing who they are for and with people. And that's what my life has been about. And now in my older, wiser years, I look back and I go, wow, that actually is who I am. I'm the person who lifts up people. And so it's fun being in this later part of life to realize that and then to get even more focused and refined on that.
Yeah.
So that's the nutshell of it.
We have a little bit in common, and you may have to come back and be on my Serving the Community series, and we could talk all about that. I think that would be so much fun. I'd love to have you back. Okay, so anything else you want to tell us about Gabrielle?
Sure. Let's see. I'm actually an introvert, which kind of sounds crazy because I'm out in the community a lot, and I love my husband. I'm married. My husband his name is Bill, and we've been together for 22 years, married 19. And something to know about us is that we live a pretty extraordinary life together, which is about making a difference. And it's been that way since day one. And so I like to tell people anything of significance I've ever accomplished is because I have that man by my side. And I don't do anything alone, which is interesting because I am an introvert. And so working with teams of people is really a big deal for me. It's one of my superpowers. Now, I'll work with teams and I will help them elevate performance and get done whatever they say they want to get done. And then I'm going to go home and I'm going to take my quiet time and regroup so I can be ready for the next group. Because I really do just love lifting up people and having them get that anything's possible for their lives.
Yeah, I love that. You and I have way more in common than either one of us even knows. So we have to have another conversation. So I do want to mention that Bill took all of those amazing photos of us for the book. So if anyone has seen the headshots on social media, advertising, Six Figure Chicks, the Houston edition, all of those photos were taken by Gabrielle's amazing husband, Bill.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that mention. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
So let's dive a little bit further into your coaching practice. You love to work with teams. Even before we started recording, you were talking to me about some things that you have going on where you're connecting people. You seem like a really big connector, even in the business world. So let's talk a little bit more about your coaching practice. Who, what, when, like, what is your favorite thing to do inside of this team space that you talk
Yes.
about?
Yes. So I'll start with, in my coaching practice, I do individual executive leadership coach. So I'll work with the leader of the company or the organization. And then sometimes what it leads to is now I'm going to work with the team because they see something else that can expand and what's possible with their group. And sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes people will bring me in to work with their team, their board or their executive committee or their IT department or whatever it might be. And then I'll end up doing individual coaching off that. So that's a fun kind of circular type of business generation. And so what I love to do is go in and work with teams on whatever projects they have where they haven't quite made the jump.
Mm.
There's Every leader has big goals and ambitions for their teams. And inevitably, a leader is going to say, we're not getting there. At some point, we're not getting there. It's kind of like you're not done until you're done. And so, one of my specialties is going in and working with the teams to have that team work at their best. So, elicit their greatness, you could say,
Mhm.
because chances are the leader hasn't quite tapped into that yet. Now, how can I say that and how can I know that? Because I'm there.
Mhm.
They haven't tapped into it quite yet. And so what I love seeing is inevitably I'll be working with a team and sometimes I'll do 1-day retreats, 2-day workshop, whatever it might be. But there is a point where something becomes exponential. And what becomes exponential is that they realize they already have everything that they need to be a high performing team. They just haven't been using it. And so
Mhm.
we uncover and discover that they're already brilliant. They're already committed. They already have the tools that they need. They've just been a little covered up, you could say, little stuck.
Mhm.
And so I just go in there and work with them on getting unstuck. And it's easier than you think. It's usually a very, very clear process. And it's so clear that they can't see it. And that's fine. But that is my job. And so from the very first minute, people can tell that my workshops are different and they're not prescribed and they are incredibly interactive. And people walk out with a new sense of capability and clear path to accomplishment that they didn't have before.
I love that. Uh, you have a more holistic approach
Yes.
for the teams or the individuals that you're working with, and I think mindset is probably in that holistic space as well as just well-being. You're fit and you like to be out in the community doing those types of things. So talk to me about this more holistic approach that you have with your clients.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you brought that up. So inevitably also something that happens in working with not only with teams, but especially in the one-on-one. It might come up in the team regard as well. It'll start with the leaders though, is while I'm always coming in from a business perspective, there's always, look, we're hiring you because we have these kinds of business goals. We want to get to X, Y, and Z in terms of our numbers and goals and whatnot. But these are people, and these people all have lives, and they have families, and they have, fast food access everywhere, and goals in being physically fit, or they're dealing with high blood pressure, or whatever it might be. And so, yes, while I'm coming in from a business angle, they will eventually talk to me about a personal aspect of their lives that might not be working or working as well as they want it to, and something that they want to impact. And sometimes, Trisha, that happens sooner rather than later because, I mean, quite frankly, they see me on LinkedIn or on my Facebook and they see that I'm out there running events and I'm physically fit and active. And so it just kind of comes up in the conversation. And I'm really, really pleased that it does because I do take my health and my physical fitness very seriously, not only for me, and so I can be around for as long as possible, but also because it's a challenge for me to stay healthy and well. And so that's always a mountain. It's been a mountain for me since I was 13. And so if I continue to keep challenging myself up that mountain, I keep a beginner's mind of what might be challenging for others. And so it becomes a demonstration at some point and an inspiration for people to see me doing it, because I'll be like, look, I don't want to work out either. Okay. Like, it was hard for me to put my shoes on and go do that thing. And if I never had to eat anything healthy again in the rest of my life, I would be just fine. So I deal with the same, I'll call them demons, right? I'll deal with the same, like, I don't want to, and let me do it later. And can somebody else please save me? I deal with that too. A lot of times in the physical fitness and the, keeping healthy arena. And so when other people see me do that and they say, wow, she's human too. Like, she's not, she doesn't have it all figured out. It's like, no, I don't. And so it gives me a real capacity in my coaching to give people a lot of space for whatever they're dealing with. And so what most likely, if you're dealing with this kind of business issue or challenge, and you're stopped in performing or you're stopped in taking those next steps, sometimes it's the same kind of stop. It's of the same essence in your physical fitness or in your wellness arena. And so sometimes it doesn't matter which arena we discuss, you're still the same person. And you still might have the same, I don't want to, and you can't make me, can I do it later going on? Or my team's not performing well, somebody's not pulling through for me or whatever that might be. But my work is really transformational in nature. So back to your comment about it being holistic, this is not the, let me give you a 100-page workbook and there's 10,000 exercises and checklists for this and checklists for that. And I love my checklist, don't get me wrong. And all of those tools have their time and place. Don't get me wrong. I love them. And what I've found in my work with people is that while that can be a tool to help with certain regards, certain aspects, ultimately we're going to be having a conversation about what it is that you want, where you want to go, and what might be in the way, what you might be telling yourself, or what barriers you might be hitting that are going to have you not achieve that. And then, Trisha, what happens is when they see what that barrier is, they can't unsee it. And when you can't unsee it, it's a little bit like the cat's out of the bag. It's kind of like now you can tell that you're making the choice to go left and then right, or not left, then right. But you get to say.
Yeah.
So it is transformational. And the thing about having it be transformational, it's not prescriptive. And we're removing the obstacles that are in the way already of what you already know how to do. I'm not going to give you 12 more exercises to do and checklists to follow, because you're not going to do them anyway. You already have 1,200 things that you're not doing. Okay. Like we all do, right? We all have a to-do list.
We all do. Yeah. Love that. Okay. So if what you're talking about is really speaking to someone, I'd love for you to give your contact information so they can reach out and get to know you and learn more. How would they do that?
Best way is to go to my website, baumeyercoaching.com, my last name, coaching.com. And that has my social media icons and ways to connect me there. And then there's a purple button that says book a call. I suggest clicking that. Click that.
Click.
Yeah. And look, it's real easy to go to a website and just kind of look around, and you might book a call or you might not. But I developed that website with a particular communication idea in mind, and that is for people to get to know me. Because hiring a coach, and you know this, Trisha, it's very personal, it's very important, and you want to have it be the really the right decision for you. So when people go to my website, I encourage them to go to the page that reads promises. There's a page called promises. And I was very deliberate in how I wrote that out, because I want people to know that I'm making promises to them when we work together. And essentially, what you can gather from reading that page is that I'm going to go the distance with you because I love you. I don't even know you yet.
I love that. All right, you guys. So the website is BAUMEYER coaching. coachrice.com. So you can go and learn more about Gabrielle and connect with her. You guys go book a call, for gosh sakes. It's just a few minutes and get to know someone else, right? I love this. Okay. I want to dive into this whole idea of the intangibles around coaching. So you and I both know that there are some tangibles very easy to measure, very easy to see improvement or taking that next first right step. But what about the intangibles and how do you, one, let's define what some of those are. So tell me what some of those are in your coaching space. And how do you help your clients see that these intangibles can be just as important as the tangible things?
Sure. Intangibles are when people say, we want to be better communicators. I want to have more confidence. I want there to be, more trust in my team, or I want to be able to trust my team,
Mhm.
right? It's things like that. So sometimes we call them the soft skills, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let me tell you this. Something else to know about me is that I'm a little bit of a numbers nerd. Okay. I'm an engineer by study. So I love me some numbers. I really do. I love tracking things. I love my spreadsheets. I love all that stuff. And what I have discovered over the past 25 years plus of doing some form of coaching that I have done, or some form or fashion, I've been doing this stuff for, like you mentioned, for 25 years. I've noticed that there is a direct correlation between the results that a team produces, and those can be measured by numbers. There is a direct correlation between those numbers that teams produces and the soft skills being addressed. If you and your team say, we are going to produce 1 million this year, whatever the thing is, right? 1 million widgets, $1 million, whatever it is, right? Just making up numbers. If you say you're going to produce 1 million and right now you're at 500,000, that's a big deal to be able to double your results. Again, I'm just making up numbers. So in order to double those results, trust has to be established. In order to double those results, the team has to gain a level of confidence. In order to double those results, the team must be in communication in a way that perhaps they've never been in communication before. So it's all in the numbers, and the numbers tell a story. The numbers are the real black and white demonstration of whether or not those soft skills are being addressed. And in my work, I will have my clients see the correlation between those. Now, they might make the $1 million or not, or they might make the 1 million widgets or not. But the growth is in the team aligning and saying, we're going to go from X to Y.
Mhm.
And if they align on that, and then they're willing to do the work, and I like to tell my clients, you don't even have to do 100% of the work. Just do 80%. Like, just give it your all, and you're going to mess up and you're going to fall short sometimes. And that's okay. If you fall short or if you make it, there are actually opportunities for both of those. And one of the tenets of my work is you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Like, if you're going to say you're going to do it, then you're going to do it. And it's kind of a simple tenet. It's a simple thing to say. And oh my gosh, Trisha, is that harder to do than it is to say? And so when a team says, yeah, we're going to go for the million, it's like, okay, now let's roll up sleeves. And in the process, the intangibles become tangible as represented in the black and white on the piece of paper.
I love
That
that.
answer the question?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. As you were talking through that, I'm thinking about, these leaders who are avoiding hard conversations. I work with small to medium-sized business owners who are in the same space, right? That they're afraid to say something to one of the team members or one of their employees because it's a hard conversation, so they just continue to avoid it. What would you say about that particular space? And, for the leaders who are listening, what advice do you give to them about being comfortable with being uncomfortable? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Look, you are going to be uncomfortable with that. That's never going to go away.
Mhm.
Yeah, been doing this stuff. I've been walking the planet front. There's still conversations that I don't want to have. They're uncomfortable, and okay, we're never going to get to that point where it's like, yay, I want to do. It just won't happen. Okay, it just won't, and that's okay. Now, where I focus my work with leaders is a great deal in that arena. It's having those kinds of uncomfortable or challenging conversations, you can say, all right? And noticing, number one, it's like it'll always kind of feel that way, and that's fine. And then number two is looking at a kind of at a microscopic level what the cost is if you don't have the conversation.
Mhm.
If you really, really looked at the cost of it, and sometimes we'll do a little mock test, right? Like, what can happen if you don't have the conversation, and what can happen if you do? And sometimes it just takes 5 minutes to just really get in touch with, gosh, if I do not actually address and bring up the issue with that manager, these 6 things could result, and it could be kind of ugly down the line.
Mhm.
And then you say, okay, well, what if you did have the conversation? What could happen? And then we do that scenario. And it's like, wow, well, actually, maybe it wouldn't go that poorly. And 9 times out of 10, whatever is stopping that leader from bringing up that topic, it's most likely some kind of broken record that's been going on for a long time. And it's some version of that person won't get it. It's not going to do any good. And I don't have enough time to do it, or something like that.
Mhm.
And so it's like a smile of familiarity, it looks like.
Mhm.
And sometimes those concerns, or I call them broken records, sometimes they're so loud. And you know this, Trisha, they're so loud that we can't even hear them.
Mhm.
So one of the benefits of having a coach is having someone who'll listen in a particular way such that you can hear yourself.
Mhm.
And this is how you know you're playing some broken record. If the result you want still isn't happening, if that manager is still doing his or her thing after 7 years or 7 days or whatever it is, you get to define how long it is. You know, how long is too long? If that is still happening, chances are there's some conversation you haven't been willing to have. There's a cost to it, and there's some broken record that's been playing that is so loud that you can't hear it. And if you have that, now I'm talking just to your listeners, right? If you have that going on, and you know what I'm talking about, because it's a thing that you just thought to yourself, like, oh, yeah, that's been going on for way too long, book a call with me.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's real easy. You just go to baumeyercoaching.com, go to the promises page. Think I
Exactly.
got this right? Yeah. So, and for you guys, just spelling it out, Baumeyer coaching.com is where you're going to find all of Gabrielle's information. So, before I get to my last question and we wrap up today, I want to celebrate this book where you, and I haven't read it yet, I have been holding back from reading anyone's draft copy, if you will. We've all had the opportunity to write a chapter in this amazing book, Six Figure Chicks, the Houston edition. For those of you who are watching the video, you can see the really cool book here, and I'm so excited. Our ebook is going to be released on June 14th. If you're listening to this afterwards, you can still get a copy of the ebook on Amazon. You can also get a copy of the hard copy of the book a little bit later down the road. So be on the lookout for those. Gabrielle, tell me why you got involved in writing your story for Six Figure Chicks.
I'll give you a couple answers, okay? Uh, the simple answer is Mel Carr.
Mhm.
That woman is exceptional. She is absolutely extraordinary. And I met her. We talked a few times. We talked a few more times. And then I realized she's the real deal.
Mhm.
And I like to be around people who are the real deal, who
Mhm.
are for people. Because I've discovered, Trisha, if I hang around people who are for people, and who are committed to people and want to lift people up. That's my kind of people.
Yeah.
And then it fuels me. So that's the short answer, Mel Carr, for those reasons. And the second one is, this is going to sound wild. I have this, it's kind of like the Gabrielle Baumeyer business plan, my life business plan. Okay. It's like 25 pages. It's like ridiculous. Okay. I'm not recommended to do 25 pages, but anyway, that's just me.
Recovering engineer. I'm just saying.
Totally has a table of contents and everything, color coding. And there's a line in there, Trisha, that says, in 2025, I want to co-author a book.
Uh,
And I wrote that last July
mm, mm,
for like 2025. I forgot I wrote it. Okay. But see, what had me write that was my desire to tell my story. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know who was going to be with. It was like, however many lines or words that is, I'm going to co-author a book because I was ready to come out from behind the curtain. So what does that mean? Come out from behind the curtain. Now, some people listen to this, they know me, some people don't, but I feel like I've been just like kind of stepping my little baby toe into what's possible for my life in terms of my business and what I can do with and for people and having my gifts live out in the world because I've been incredibly blessed. I have been given skills and talents and characteristics and abilities that I now can own as of like a year ago. Like it hasn't even been that long, okay? Which is crazy, right? Because I've produced results and I did them almost, it feels like by accident. And now I get to produce them with intention and with a certain ability to have my path and my journey inspire others to get that they can reach theirs. And quite frankly, it was a matter of time. So I said, all right, Melcar, let's go for it. And here I am.
Congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to read your story. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Your story, along with the rest of the ladies. I think we've got a total of 17 ladies that are part of our sisterhood for this volume 1. Really excited for the release of that. And it's a whole new circle of people that we wouldn't have had access to in the first place. I just got goosebumps. And Mel is responsible for that because I've done a book collaboration before and it was nothing like this. You wrote your chapter, you told everybody about it, we sold it, we became best-selling authors, and then we all moved on. And I don't even know the other authors. That is not what's happening with Six Figure Chicks. It is amazing. It's a movement. And we're going to go out and mentor young ladies. And there's so many amazing things about this book. So you guys, if you're listening before June 14th, go get ready to get on Amazon and pre-purchase your ebook on June 14th. After that, you can still purchase it, of course, but that's our big launch day. So that's what we're really pushing for. Gabrielle, as we close today, what is one thing that you'd like to leave the audience with today?
Anything is possible. And first step is just saying that you want it. That's first step. Say you want it. Surround yourself with people who are like-minded and who believe in you. And then take the actions that you know to take, even when you kind of don't want to. And it'll all turn out.
It's beautiful. Gabrielle, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Trisha.
You're amazing. All right, you guys, that's Gabrielle Baumeyer, BaumeyerCoaching.com. You guys go out and book a call with her. She's amazing, by the way. And I've only met her a few times online, once in person, and her amazing husband as well. And she's a treat. So I think that you should have a conversation with her. Gabrielle, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Tricia.
That's all the time we have for today. If you found value in this conversation, please share it with a fellow entrepreneur, a veteran, or a Houston leader ready to grow. Be sure to follow, rate, and review the show. That helps us reach more bold business minds just like yours. Your business, your leadership, and your legacy are built one intentional step at a time. So stay inspired, stay focused, and keep building the business and the life you deserve.